beach every weekend. Yeah, so Hearts of Oak is owing me.
Starr boy.
Yeah.
So if it had not been for Kuku family by now, you would have been.
Now.
So wait, so what position has he left back?
No, I'm an offensive
midfielder.
Yes.
Attacking
midfielder. But now I'm a utility player. I can play anywhere.
So you can be a striker too. Then go and help Black Stars.
And I could honestly when given the chance, because football is not about just playing the ball. And my understanding of the game, if I had the chance to show that to the world, but now I'm a big man.
Have you considered joining the sports team as one of your presenters?
You know, I was once doing sports before I
get into the
I went to court.
The legal world.
So sports has always been my.
Okay.
So that one, nobody can take that one away from me.
Okay.
Whether they adopt me or not. I would talk about football every day.
Murtala Senegal.
I'm a Senegal. I remember that name. George Kigalio, remember that name?
No.
Sami Bamako, J.
Why were
those days when we were when the Hearts were playing?
Why were they being given capitals of countries?
George Kigali is in which country?
Kigali should be in. Is it Rwanda?
I think Rwanda. Yeah, I think so.
It should not be wrong.
So Kotoko went to Kigali, and then George Owu saved the situation for Kotoko. So in the commentary, it was like, yeah, he is the man of the day. Had it not been him, Kotoko would have lost the game. So they ended up putting that name, fusing that Kigali in his name. In the same way as Sami Bamako. Bamako is in Mali. That's the capital of Mali, right? Yes. And so I remember Stade Malien and Co. They were warring hard to folk, and then Sami Eje will stand between us and they will win the game and come. So through that, the commentary, and they will just have to George Sami Bamako Eje. So it tells you that in Bamako, he's making his name, he's chopping his name. So you are
a football historian too?
No. I'm only telling you. When I was watching commentary those days.
But you know, those days, commentary was very informative.
Very.
It was informative. So when, the commentators had information on the players.
Absolutely.
And how, one of the commentators for the English Premier League, I've forgotten his name, but he's a very popular... Peter Drury. Fantastic.
Poetic.
Look,
Peter Drury. We love that man.
He could probably tell you, give you an apt description of a player within a few seconds. Once the player is on the ball, he'll just tell you something major about it. We don't do that anymore.
Vivid mental picture of that whole thing. I remember so many times.
He's in a class of his own.
I'm watching football with my brother. He sees me like a mad person, because when I'm I'm listening to the commentary and I'm sitting there just smiling and laughing like a mad person. You have no idea. I say, pay attention to the man who is running the commentary.
But these days,
now if you watch football, then you know what we say, Atia Faso. And what is Atia Faso? And sometimes the emotions are too much. The boys at the center second are telling you that I can't take it.
They'll scream as though it hits the bar.
I swear. So it makes listening to commentary these days.
It's not exciting.
Yeah, as those days.
Exciting.
You are watching Kobna Yeboah, and then the terms are coming.
You know, there are people.
Only one those you get.
There were people that others picked.
Absolutely.
Pick the vocabulary from, but these days it's very limited.
Over to you, his son
Jolati.
He's also one person that I enjoyed listening to his commentary. Then who else? The late this man, what is the name? He used to be with Metro TV.
Christopher
Poku. Yes.
Another fantastic
yes. I enjoy his commentary. Then Willie Graham. Willie Graham has also.
Is it Benjamin Willie Graham? He used to be with GTV.
Absolutely. And then our former sports head of sports is now with the GFA. Henry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Henry Asante.
Yeah. They are those that I really enjoyed their commentary.
Mr. Hat was like the protege of
Kwabena Yeboah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you usually would feel Kwabena Yeboah in his
commentary. The football is all about. It's an art.
Yes.
So you just need the words to be able to describe the scene, give us the mental and the vivid picture, so that if I'm not there, I read BBC post-match reports all the time, because some of the things, sometimes you miss the matches and then you have to. I read the report, and then
it feels
see
like
that
you were in the stadium.
Absolutely. But on our part of the world, you don't see that. And also, the worry, the concern in this part of the world is that you are not allowed to play with words. You're not allowed to play with words.
Are you sure?
Yes, you're not allowed.
Oh, I don't think they are not allowed to play with words.
I think so. Because I remember those days.
You listen to the local news, and what do they do with words?
No, that's for the local. I'm talking about the way we write the reports. After match, post-match report, you are reporting about the match and all that. When you read the reports, the reason I said you are not allowed to play with words. Maybe they are
not exploring their creativity. You know, there's creative writing.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Simple writing.
So there are certain terminologies that probably doesn't flow with the normal English, but it depends on how the usage will give you a meaning from what you are trying to put out and all of that.
That's a bit colorful.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Anyway, let's talk about the courts.
That day they are talking about the courts. Yes. Yesterday, Amnesty International Ghana was at the office of the Attorney General to pay a courtesy visit or a working visit following his appointment and then approval, a nomination and approval. It is only fair that an institution like Amnesty International will go and then greet or visit the new Attorney General and the office to share some of their activities, things that they have been working on with the office, and how all of them as stakeholders will put things through to be able to achieve a common goal. And one of the issues that came to the fore was the death penalty. You note that at some point, sometime last year, if I'm not mistaken, the issue about amendment in our criminal jurisprudence came to the fore, where an offense like murder, which used to be a death penalty, was abolished. But that's not all. There are certain offenses that still do carry death penalty. So they is saying that Amnesty International is saying that Ghana as a country, if we are talking about death penalty, we have partially done so. We haven't fully abolished that, because an offense like treason, high treason, carry a death penalty. Terrorism, counterfeiting, all of them carry the punishment of death penalty. So how can we come together and abolish this to achieve a complete abolishment? Moment after the engagement with the Attorney General, I've been speaking with Genevieve Pattington, who is the country director of Amnesty International Ghana. Let's hear what she said about the death penalty.
We are here paying a courtesy call to the Attorney General, which is the Honorable Dominic Ayini. It is our first time meeting him. Amnesty International always has a great relationship with Office of the Attorney General, so we found it prudent to come here and introduce ourselves. He already knows us anyway, but it was good to have an official courtesy call just to discuss some of the human rights issues that we work on. One in particular was the death penalty. Although Ghana has partially abolished the death penalty here, there are still issues with the Constitution. For example, we still have embedded in our Constitution that death penalty for treason still exists. And with that clause, Amnesty International cannot recognize Ghana as an abolitionist in practice. So we came here to appeal to him to just ensure that for the constitutional review, this particular clause in the Constitution is addressed and the death penalty is completely removed from our books.
Yes, so that is Genevieve Pattington on the why or how Ghana should make sure that we abolish the death penalty completely from our laws. There's also one thing that she has been talking about, which has to do with the witchcraft accusation bill and all of that. You know, we have situations where people who assume or false accusation are alleged to be witches and wizards, and they are being assaulted. Some of them are being brutalized, some are killed, and all of that. She has also been speaking on that particular subject and how Parliament can also play a role to have it pass as a law.
Another thing we spoke about was the witchcraft accusations bill. We all know that it was passed in Parliament, but the previous government refused to assent to the bill. So we wanted to inquire what's next. It's a private member's bill, I must say. So there's bills that have been relapsed in Parliament, and the issue is it's going to start the process again in Parliament. With private members' bills, only those that introduce the bills in Parliament can refer the bill to Attorney General's office if they want government to carry the bill forward. However, it can be reintroduced into Parliament as a private member's bill, and we have to start the process again. Process can take weeks, it can take months, it can take years, but we are hopeful that it will be, seen to immediately, and Parliament will prioritize this.
Yes, so that is Genevieve Partington, Country Director for Amnesty International Ghana, also making a point about the witchcraft accusation bill. You know that once a president, an administration failed to get the processes done, he has to start all over again, and it's a waste of resources and time and energy. And I think that our laws or lawmakers will have to find
something
a way.
Would have to definitely
they have to look at it again, because if we have to start the process and get into the tail, and once the final straw, just sign the thing in football, sign the thing. You don't sign the thing, and there's a new coach. It means that they have to start all over again. I don't think
it's the best for the country.
It's a way to move forward. It's rather take it back and all of that. But now that what's your take on community sentencing bill when somebody is found guilty for petty offenses, misdemeanors? What do you think? Instead of 5 years, 6 years in custody and all of that.
There's a conversation we have been having for years that, successive attorney generals have talked about, and, a lot of the time they talk about it and voice their concerns when they are in opposition, and when they get into office officially,
they forget.
I don't know what happens. It looks as though now the focus shifts. But we've been talking about, community service for a very long time.
It has to.
If someone steals a bunch of plantain,
going for 5 years, 6 years,
I don't see why you should send the person to jail. The person is hungry. Sending the person to jail. I remember, not to cut you, but I remember there was a case like that where in some parts of the country, someone, a barber, had stolen plantain or something, and he was sentenced, and there were many lawyers who were not happy with it, so they contributed.
And then have to...
Yes.
So sometimes the situation is so dire. Yesterday, for instance, there was a guy who came on an appeal. Apparently, he was arrested in somewhere around in Sawam for visiting a mining site to go and steal some cables.
Okay.
And then he was arrested and charged for stealing. And then the court sentenced him to 48 months in prison. And apparently,
that is 4 years.
Yes, apparently the cables were retrieved.
Oh, from him.
From him. None of them got missing. It was retrieved from, but he was sentenced. It's an offense, though, to steal something that doesn't belong to you and all of that. So the court said, look, he came on appeal at the High Court. The court said, look, yes, it is true that he has stolen. He even pleaded guilty simpliciter. Yes. And so 48 months, a first-time offender. This is where we need community sentencing.
Absolutely.
The items were retrieved, and then he pleaded guilty. He showed remorse on all of that. And so yesterday, the court had to reduce
the sentence
from 48 months to 24.
Hey, 2 years.
2 years, at least, even halved. But the good thing is that it has to start from the day that he was convicted. And so it's assumed that at least he spent some money, has some few days to go or few months to go to get that. But I think that petty offenses, misdemeanors that are tried punishment like this nature. Community sentence. Accra is so choked and so...
Look at the choked gutters.
Yes.
Imagine if you would do some of these and people are sent to go and... Look, in fact, they will feel that...
No.
More.
Imagine...
They will never forget.
Imagine somebody has stolen something and then the person is asked to work from Nima Junction, in front of our office here, to, Nima Junction every day for a month. People will be asked, why are you doing this work? And that alone is a punishment on its own.
That's embarrassment.
Yes, you won't do it again.
And if we are making room for plea bargaining, for crimes that are even bigger, that are costing the state more, why can we not work on our laws to make room for community service?
Sometimes
for people who commit some of these petty crimes.
See some prisoners...
To even free our prisoners.
Yes.
People are being kept on remand for so many months and years.
And they get rather weakened. You see them and then they are not better. You get it.
Because our system in the prisons roughens you up.
It doesn't reform you. So Amnesty International has been speaking on their community build and community stuff.
Okay.
And so let's hear from Genevieve Partington again. Yeah.
The community sentencing bill is something that has been in the works with the previous government, but nothing has been formally introduced into Parliament. So it's something that Amnesty International is also very concerned about, and we're happy to say that the Attorney General was also quite intrigued about this community sentencing bill. Overall, I believe the issues that were addressed were very positive, and the meeting was very productive, and he has given some great advice, and he has given us assurance that the human rights of Ghanaians will be protected and respected regardless. So we're looking forward to this relationship continuing, and we'll continue coming for advice and just working hand in hand with Office of the Attorney General.
Within specific time.
So that is Genevieve Partington, Country Director for Amnesty International Ghana, making a point there yesterday after visiting or paying a courtesy call on the Office of the Attorney General and negotiate or having conversation with the AG on things that should be the difficulties that they have encountered along the line and the way forward and all of that. So that's one of the things that took place yesterday. And yesterday, when I came here, I was talking to you about the Deputy IGP's contempt case and some 2 other officers. Yes, yesterday the case was called, but the officers were not present. And the reason being that at the last court, the court indicated that they can send somebody to represent them on the such time that the court think that their physical presence are needed. And yesterday, when the case was called, both the officers and then the plaintiff in the matter were absent. But one thing that took place was to the effect that lawyers of the Chief Lord Tettey, who initiated the contempt action, indicated that they have received the affidavit in opposition from lawyers of the Deputy IGP, COP, Christian Tettey, and the others, and they intend to file a supplementary affidavit where the court has said that they should file that, and on the 3rd of March, it will be moved, and the court will see the way forward, and that a date will be fixed for the hearing of the contempt application. One case also that also came to the fore was the Benchmark case, the former CEO of Defense, or the CEO of the defunct Benchmark, Michael Nyineku. And guess what? I've been telling you about the fact that the new Attorney General is reviewing the case docket, and for 2 continuous sittings before yesterday, the court was asked to put the trial on hold. Yesterday, there had been some development, and the latest development is to the effect that the accused person, Michael Nyineku, and the state has started negotiating an aspect of the charges before the court. The nature of the negotiation was not put before the court. So yesterday, state prosecutors sought an adjournment for a month, and the case has been adjourned to March 24. The court presided over by Justice Efiasewa Saribochi, the Justice of the Court of Appeal, who is presiding as an additional High Court judge, has adjourned the case to March 24. So what is clear is that the Benchmark case, the Michael Nyineku case, where initially we're expecting the 29th witness to testify, the case has been adjourned because aspects of the charges are being negotiated as to whether plea bargaining or as to whether Section 35 we'll get to know in the coming days. So that's one of the things that took place in the courts yesterday.
Today, what are we expecting? Anything?
Then yesterday also the Taman Pagadan case, the accident matter came on, and then yesterday prosecution indicated that they will need time to be able to. They want to file their disclosures and then witness statement on all processes as they go. They need some of their witnesses to come and sign. Then all will be filed at once. So they need the court to give them an adjournment, which the court obliged, and it has been adjourned. Then there were 2 guys who were hauled before or arrested, charged for impersonating current
Foreign Affairs Minister
Samuel Okuyetua Blakwa. Hannah Bisu, where is Hannah Bisu? Dr. Hannah Bisu.
She's a women's organizer of the NDC.
Of the NDC,
yes. But currently, I don't know if she's been.
She's also one of the victims. And then Thomas Ampem Daku. also involved over this. One of the deputy ministers, I guess, also is one of the victims. So yesterday, the accused persons were in court, and one of the things that took place was the effect that, yes, the accused persons came, they were present, but the prosecution sought for an adjournment, and the case has been adjourned also in relation to that. And yesterday, too, the past mate case came up, and that day, this one is worrying because if you look at the circumstances under which this case has to be adjourned, you note that the accused person have said so many times that they have been granted bail, but they are still in lawful custody and they are on remand at the Inusah prisons. What is clear, yesterday on their way to the court, the bus that they normally would use to come got broken.
Hey.
Yes. Their bus got broken on the way to court, and so it's very dangerous at that. So you are having inmate accused persons, you are bringing them to court, and then on the way you get stuck. What happened if the unthinkable, what you think will not happen, happens? So yesterday it was a consent to the court. The court is making an appeal to the Interior Minister, all stakeholders, to ensure that at least for the prisons, there are people who are wild in that particular bus and all of that. Sometimes prison officers accompany them to the court. But situations like that, we think that it is much more risky and all of that. So yesterday, because of the fact that the bus broke down on the way, they couldn't bring
them to court.
Yes, the accused persons to court. So the case has been adjourned to March 10th for continue. We're expecting the second defense prosecution witness, that's the driver of Madam Sidiadapa's husband, Daniel Osekufo, to face further cross-examination from the accused person. But that did not happen because the bus that normally brings the accused persons got broken on its way.
So they couldn't call for backup.
At that particular point in time, it will happen as and when things are sorted. If there was a backup, I'm sure that that would have come up, that this bus, we don't think that it can carry us to where we are going. So let's have a plan.
Anyway, cars are machines. There are moments where they can break down without giving you notice.
They also get tired, yes.
Okay.
So yesterday, that was what happened.
Okay. Now, some of the cases coming up today, we have Sanglemi, we have Men's Gold, there's Matankuma. Hey, this Matankuma case is still there.
It's still there.
There's also OSP versus Child. This case is still
still there, yes.
Then there's the Ofanko landlord murder case, right?
Yes.
So let's start with
Sanglemi. So somebody will be asking, why are we still discussing Sanglemi? Because the Attorney General...
Not everybody was acquitted and discharged.
No, all of them.
All of them were clear?
They were not. In fact, this one was not a prosecutor, so they were. The AG dropped charges against them.
But I thought there were some people remaining.
No, it was in relation to the Dr. Siama Pandit case, the Unibank and the UT ones.
But for the
Sanglemi, all of them,
so everything ends.
All of them. But it is today that the courts will officially discharge them.
Okay.
Yes. So the one that we have been reporting on is the one that the Attorney General has filed at the registry of the court. So today is the agenda day. Today is the day that the court will sit. Okay. And officially, it will be brought to the attention of the court that AG has dropped charges against these accused. So Alhaji Collins Dauda, Kweku Ajiman Mensah, Alhaji Zibrin Yakubu, Albert Clocanas is deceased now. And then Nuvi Tettey Angelo, the businessman. The four will be in court and officially they will be discharged. This one is not acquitted and discharged. This one, prosecution is still calling witness. We're expecting the third prosecution witness to come and continue with testimony before the AG. So prosecution has not closed its case for a withdrawal, which will near to acquittal and discharge. So for this one, any day, any time, the case can be revisited and all of that. And one of the things that the AG made was to the effect that the charges that were before the court, if the AG is supposed to pursue it, to amount to waste of time, because there were certain things that somebody like Honorable Atachian also did. It were the same thing that Collins Dauda and the other accused persons did, and they were before the court. And remember that I asked the former Attorney General about the fact that charges on the $2 million alone is over $1 million. So how come the accused person, especially Alhaji Collins Dauda, is supposed to answer questions even in relation to the charges that came with the money? And we heard what he said. So that case today we'll get to know. Then Men's Good. Nana Appiah Mensah want to challenge the decision of the court to have him open his defense. At the last court sitting, he was seeking for a stay of proceedings, which did not work. but it's gone to the Court of Appeal with a notice of appeal to challenge the order to open this fund, and also asking the Court of Appeal to put the High Court in order and check by way of staying its proceedings. So today, at the last court sitting, the court was not happy with prosecutions, that you have all the resources, ensure that the appeal by the accused person is heard at the Court of Appeal, follow up and all of that. So today, we'll have an update in relation to what has happened in this number one case, and also what processes are before the Court of Appeal, what has become of them. Then the Martha Nkuma Lane that matter, you remember very well that we reported here that Martha Nkuma rejected an apology from Lil Wayne, and the reason she rejected the apology is that the form in which that apology came, she thinks that the wording, she thinks that the nature or the form in which that apology is doesn't qualify
conform to what
it doesn't
a
qualify
proper apology
to a proper
should constitute.
Apology. So she rejected that, and I'm aware that there's one that has been done. The only reason that one is not out is because they're also looking at the general damages. You know, she's seeking a sum of 5 million defamation sum. A proposal has been sent to lawyers of Lil Wayne. We are yet to know. Today, they are back in court, so they will know whether the proposal they have accepted or what their reservations are, and what's the action, whether indeed they have made headway, whether indeed they have settled the matter, and the court will have to adopt whatever settlement terms they have agreed on to be adopted as a consent judgment. So there will be an update in relation to this case. So Lil Wayne and Martha Nkuma will be back in court in relation to that matter. And then you talk about the OSP Charles Bisu's case. The OSP Charles Bisu's case, this is a matter that, for those who remember, the OSP declared Charles Bisu wanted at some point in time, and he went to the Human Rights Court to have that challenged. The Human Rights Court struck out the case. He think that though it's not a proper forum and all of that, so the merit of his request was not dealt with, and so he and his lawyers have filed a motion at the Supreme Court seeking a certiorari and seeking the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court, I might say, to do something about it. So today, OSP and Charles Bisu will be at the Supreme Court in relation to that case that was dealt with by the today, and those that came out yesterday are all that we have shared with.
The minority or opinion marking.
Yes. That almost escaped me. So the Ernest Kumi has finally is filed at. In fact, this particular certiorari application was filed at the Supreme Court, and all that he is seeking is to the effect that, look, if you look at the orders of the High Court in Koforidua, it is one that is very difficult to take because the court did not give him, and this certiorari application was filed on the 24th of February. And guess what? It named the Koforidua High Court as the respondent, and he's the ex party. And then the interested parties here, Honorable Henry Boachi Adom, the NDC parliamentary candidate, the Electoral Commission is an interested party, and also the clerk to Parliament. And let me just tell you, the grounds of appeal, the grounds of his certiorari application at the Supreme Court, and he said, like, look, the High Court judge committed a jurisdictional error of law apparent on the face of the record when he assumed jurisdiction in Parliament, in parliamentary election petition at Akwetia constituency at the time when the Electoral Commission had not published the Gazette notification of the results to which the election relates in the Gazette. Then the second ground he raises is the fact that the High Court, the learned High Court judge, breached the rules of natural justice when he proceeded to hear and determine the contempt application despite the pendency of applicant's motion to set aside the said contempt application for want of jurisdiction. And the third grounds is to the effect that, look, the learned High Court judge was biased and highly prejudiced against the applicant when he, among others, refused to grant counsel for the applicant audience on the basis that counsel had not filed appearance in the contempt application. Now, if you have time, let me just give you some few of the reliefs that he is seeking.
But I'm sure, so those who are listening and wondering, okay, we have been saying certiorari.
Yes.
What exactly is it?
So certiorari means that there's an existing order or ruling, and you are not happy with it. Then you want the Supreme Court, you want a court above,
court
to reverse it,
review and reverse
it in relation to that. So by this application, what he's saying is that the order or the conviction that the Court of Appeal, the High Court in Koforidua has done, the Supreme Court should use its supervisory jurisdiction to reverse it or to review it. So that is what it means by going with the certiorari, meaning there's an existing order, there's an existing ruling, and you want that reversed. By way of the reliefs that he's seeking, the first one is that a declaration that the petition filed by the first interested party, that's the NDC parliamentary candidate, on the 31st of December 2024, in the absence of the Gazette notification of the parliamentary election results to which the election relates, is incompetent and same did not properly invoke the jurisdiction of the High Court, and that any order founded on same is void and of no effect. The second one is that the effect that, look, the contempt proceedings and the ruling dated 19 February 2012 founded on the premature election petition filed on the 31st December is void and of no effect. And he's seeking some orders too. An order of certiorari, and that's what we just explained a while ago, by this honorable court, question the ruling of His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Senyo Amedehe, sitting at the High Court in Koforidua on the 19th of February. The petition filed 31st December 2024 and the interim injunction ordered dated 2nd January 2025 and the ruling dated 6th January. So in relation to all of that, just to put it in perspective, on the 3rd of January, the High Court placed an interim injunction on him and said it should last for 10 days. An interim injunction, that is because the motion was an ex parte motion on the blind side of him. The court granted that it would last for 10 days. In 10 days, he should be notified and enter the appearance. But from the 10 day will allow someone on the 13th. And by that time, swearing in has been. He and his lawyer said, no, we want to stop that. So they went for the High Court, an application for the High Court to set it aside so that he can have a way and they participate in the swearing in on the midnight of 7th January. Now, the court refused that, which means that the time that Parliament was swearing in the MPs, there is an order on him not to take the oath. But we know what happened. He said that, yes, he would take the oath and face the consequences that followed. And it was as a result of that he was convicted for contempt, which he made references to. And then the last order that, in fact, some of the last but one is to the effect that an order questioning the ruling delivered on the contempt application and the execution of breach and execution of the bench warrants issued by the courts dated 19 February 2025 by His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Senyo Amedehe, and an order of prohibition. Now, he wants the judge to be prohibited. He wants the judge to be removed. He shouldn't deal with the case again against His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Senyo Amedehe from proceeding to sentence the applicant, its Honorable N.S. Yaokumi, pending the hearing and determination of the instance due. So the instance due, the one at the Supreme Court. Absolutely. So yes, the High Court has spoken. There's a warrant for his arrest, but he has also decided that, look, the High Court has supervisory jurisdiction. In fact, you know, the Supreme Court, I might say, has 3 powers. The first is it's not in order, absolutely.
Order, yeah.
So the Supreme Court had a supervisory jurisdiction on all lower courts, and all lower courts are courts that are under the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, Circuit Court, District Court, and all of that. And then the Supreme Court also has an inherent jurisdiction, things that we inherit from Commonwealth nation. Probably we don't have an example here, but we have an example in UK. Okay, we can borrow it and then use it to deal with our situation here. And then, of course, original jurisdiction, where the Supreme Court is the only place that you have to go when you want anything related to constitutional interpretation or even when there's a presidential election petition, you don't go anywhere, you go to the Supreme Court. So that is the original jurisdiction that the Supreme Court. So these are the things that Ernest Yaokumi and his lawyers are asking the Supreme Court to do by way of their conviction for contempt and the fact that they think that the High Court has do not have jurisdiction to deal with the matter.
They say they shot ahead of themselves, right?
So that is why the law is beautiful. So we'll be there to hear the argument that the lawyers will make as and when the matter is listed for hearing.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nadede.
Our one and only legal affairs correspondent.
One and only Nadede.
Murtala Inusah.
You're the army commander of the Air Marshal.
Hey.
Yes.
If I
you
start,
are the army commander of the Air Marshal.
If I start
in the morning when you sit here, everybody wants to listen to.
If I start with
there's
you,
nothing
don't come
to
and
start.
say that's Nadede.
There's nothing to
your
start.
Boy. Yo. Thank you very much, Captain, for joining us with what has been happening in the court and what we should be expecting today as well. It is the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM.